What it do, YouTube? It's your boy Big Matt with Chosen One Chats, back at you with another banger. Today we're gonna have a little chat about you gotta think like a rich man before you become the rich man. Now, growing up, our parents have a lot to deal with how we are eventually, how we think about money, how we feel about money, and all these things based on how they taught us to be with our money and how they acted with their own money and things like this. And we don't blame this completely on our parents, but they have a lot to play with it. Now, parents out there, don't get all caught up in, your kid thinking like, oh, blame it on the parents. No. You did the best you could, okay? We're just catching on. We're learning new information. We're in the age of Aquarius. We're learning new information. Age of Aquarius is the age of information and knowing. Now, what you want to know is this. You cannot have what you don't have already. You can only have what you already have. And what I mean by this is you literally need to imagine yourself already having it and feeling like you already have it before you actually have it, because you cannot have what you don't have. You can only have what you already have. And this is going to be tricky at first, but before we get into that, let's go ahead and breathe. So, what do I mean by all this? First, let me start it off with, a story. So, I'm going snowboarding and I wanted to purchase a jacket, and the jacket was pretty expensive. I tell my dad that, I just got this sick jacket and it's pretty expensive. And he says, hey, you should basically keep the tags for it and return it once you're done using it, because it's only going to be like once a year that you're going to go snowboarding. Or for some people who snowboard a lot, this doesn't apply to you, but for people like me who go every once in a while, that's where we're coming from. And I was like, but listen, Dad, if you're watching this, I'm just kidding. That is a poor man's mentality, unfortunately, because places that sell jackets are not rental shops. They got the rental shop and Big Bear for that, for the boots and the helmets and the snowboards. But you have to have your own jackets. They don't let you rent a jacket. So places like Big Five and REI and Dick's and all these places that sell you that kind of stuff, they are not rental companies. So they're not giving you this jacket just so you can bring it back. But that's besides the point. Now, I want to take this to let's take it to another level. Would a rich man be doing these same actions? No, of course not. A rich man would not even think twice about doing stuff like this. Now, I know a lot of you guys are getting antsy in the freaking comments, or antsy and you're watching me right now like, oh, that's not true. I know rich people that do this kind of stuff all the time. Oh, yeah, rich people are coupon clippers and rich people are this and that. Slow down there. What kind of rich person do you want to be? Do you want to be the rich person who's the coupon clipper? Or do you want to be the rich person who got it like that and doesn't need to clip coupons to get what he wants or she wants? Because there's levels to this stuff. There's the barely rich, there's well off, there is rich, and then there's elite status rich. I know there's probably a little bit more levels to that than just that, but let's just keep it there. Would a rich person be doing these types of actions? No, they would not. Now, this just got a little bit deep because am I telling you to go and spend all your money that you have and hope that you could just be financially illiterate? No, of course not. Because there's a huge difference between the mentality of a poor person versus the mentality of a rich person. The mentality of a rich person versus the mentality of a poor person, prime example is the lottery winners. Hey! Now, are there people who win the lottery who make investments and overall stay wealthy? Yes, of course. They had the mindset of a rich person before they got rich. But the thing is, some people with the mentality of a poor person win the lottery, and what happens, guys? They end up losing it all. They lose their mega millions. How does this happen? I'll tell you how it happens. Because they are financially illiterate. They just think, oh, let me just keep making all these dumb decisions, spending money ruthlessly, and magically one day I just won so much money, it's never gonna run out. Couple Lamborghinis later, mansion. Another one. Oh my gosh, the well's running dry. What happened? This was so much money. I didn't know it could be spent that fast. I didn't make any investments while I could. Now I'm last minute trying to invest in these crappy things, these crappy deals. What am I gonna do? That person will be poor because until he shifts his mindset to think like a rich man, you will not be like the rich man. Now, I want to get back on the topic though about how you have to make moves, and also one really important thing. So you want to kind of do the things that you would do if you're rich, but at the same time, remember, you got to be literate. You can't be, because rich people don't blow their monies like fools because they worked very hard for it. But you want to pay close attention to the feeling tones that you put out when you are spending money, because that is key to manifesting your desired reality, whether that even be that you want to be rich. But if being rich is part of your desired reality, you got to think of this. How do I feel when I spend my money? Do I feel like, oh, that hurt when I drop them bands on that new jacket? Or do I think of, wow, this jacket quality is amazing, worth every single dime. I'm gonna be warm, no regrets. And let's take it a step further. What about when the electric bill is due? SDG&E. What about when the bills are due? We got to remember that yes, bills suck, but if we look at it from a different perspective, watch this. This is a little side note here before I get on to the main thing. But the side note is, think of those bills, instead of bills, think of it as checks. Yeah. Instead of it being a negative, think of it as a plus. That to the side. Now let's get on the main thing. When you're paying a bill, you got to remember that, yes, it's your hard-earned money, right? And you could just think of those people or whatever, the DMV, you could just think of them as, dang, those people they don't care about us, and oh, they take too much from us, and I hate taxes. Or you could really look at the real story that goes, behind these things, and you could just be like, okay, maybe this money that I'm paying these bills on is helping someone's family. Maybe people who work for the car dealership, or who I'm paying this to the financial side of the dealership, maybe the people who are in charge of that, maybe they have a family and that's what they use to feed their family. And when we look at it from this perspective, whether it's the car dealership, whether it's the DMV, whether it's the SDG&E, we got to think of it like we are helping. When we're paying these bills, we are helping somebody feed their family, because these are people's jobs. These are people's jobs. People own these things, and it may not just be one person, but people get their income from stuff like this. So yes, you are helping them feed their families and stuff like that. And when you look at it from that perspective, you're like, okay, yeah, it hurt my pockets, whatever, but I feel good about it still, because overall, I know that this is going towards me helping somebody else put food on their table for their families. Now, are there people who are elite that have all this money coming in, and they have all this money and they're paying their employees the least they possibly can? Yes, of course, that happens. But don't think of it like that, okay? Okay? Think of it as whatever makes you feel good, because there's no point of thinking of stuff that doesn't serve you. Think of the stuff that, like I said, the good stuff, not the bad. Don't focus wherever your attention goes, that's where energy flows. Wherever energy flows, attention goes, whatever. We get it. But yeah, when you are riding around in your, let's just call it rust bucket, imagine yourself, if this is what you have to do, get real detailed. Like, hey, bro, you don't have to be rich to either rent a car or even test drive a car. Now that's all you really need to do to get the real how it would feel to be behind the wheel of some exotic car. Now, what do you do from there? Because eventually you're gonna have to give those keys back. Just take in all the details of that experience, from the way the infotainment center set up, to the, how the steering wheel feels, and how the everything in the car feels and looks. And then imagine when you're driving your rust bucket, it gives you an easier way to imagine, just imagine yourself in that car. Because it's harder to imagine if you've never even been inside or seen the inside of something like that. So if you get yourself inside and you see what it's like and you drive in and you see how it feels, it'll make it easier to imagine it. So, and then pay attention to the details too, like, you know what I mean? The details, because when you're manifesting stuff, you gotta be kind of deep. When you're thinking of things that you want, you gotta kind of be detailed about it. That's very important. So yeah, that's how you, and then, you know, let's just say you want to be some superstar. Maybe you're meant for the limelight and you're famous and you want to be famous and rich, right? Okay. Let's just take this, okay? Imagine yourself whenever you step out, right? And imagine people coming up to you. These are going to be harder to imagine for some of you out there, but for some of you who know what you're doing for real, like whatever, ascended master at this stuff, right? You know what, you really know how to imagine things. But there's certain things like this, when you're walking around, I might like, it's a little bit harder to imagine. So one thing I can say is this: go outside or go wherever you want to and meditate, close your eyes, and use your third eye to imagine it. Imagine yourself in your third eye while you got your eyes closed. And then really come to the breath. And then just imagine yourself going to the grocery store, your local grocery store. Imagine yourself pulling up to that grocery store in your hot rod and then getting out of your car and just, you get the gist of it, guys. Anyways, I hope you guys are drinking your water. I hope you guys are doing your thing. I hope you guys are moving in love. It's your boy Big Matt with Chosen One Chats. Hope you guys have yourselves a wonderful day. Peace.